Okay, then we should turn off.
It says video unavailable. Video is private.
Oh, we just
It was public.
It was public. So where is it saying unavailable public?
So what video you are asking?
Are you streaming?
Okay. Is it coming on the Adit I turned off? Now we're doing Zoom to YouTube. So if you go to the channel.
But still it is showing this one on camera one. Parallelly you can do two live also,
Yeah,
right?
it is there. It's coming.
Is there?
Are you streaming? Yeah. It is streaming, bro.
You can check your screen on the video.
Yeah, we can.
Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Narayanam Namaskritya Naram Chaiva Narottamam Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Tato Jayamudiraye Nashtaprayeshu Abhadreshu Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya Bhagavati Uttama Shloke Bhaktir Bhavati Naishtiki. Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 10, Chapter 1, Text 13. Naishati dussaha kshunmam Tyaktodam api badhate Pibantam tvan mukham bhoja Chutam harikathamrutam Naishati dussaha kshunmam Tyaktodam api badhate Pibantam man mukham bhoja Chutam harikathamrutam Idussaha kshunmam Tyaktodam api badhate Mantam tvan mukham bhoja Chutam harikathamrutam. Mukham bhoja So it's actually chutam, ambhojat chutam. It's the lotus nectar coming from the mouth of Sukadeva Goswami. So, translation and purport by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada, Jai Srila Prabhupada. Because of my vow on the verge of death, I have given up even drinking water. Yet, because I am drinking the nectar of topics about Krishna, which is flowing from the lotus mouth of your Lordship, my hunger and thirst, which are extremely difficult to bear, cannot hinder me. Please repeat. Because of my vow on the verge of death, I have given up even drinking water. Yet, because I am drinking the nectar of topics about Krishna, which is flowing from the lotus mouth of your lordship, my hunger and thirst, which are extremely difficult to bear, cannot hinder me. Purport. To prepare to meet death in 7 days, Maharaj Parikshit gave up all food and drink. As a human being, he was certainly both hungry and thirsty, and therefore Sukadeva Goswami might have wanted to stop narrating the transcendental topics of Krishna. But despite his fast, Maharaj Parikshit was not at all fatigued. The hunger and thirst from my fast do not disturb me, he said. Once, when I felt very thirsty, I went to the ashrama of Shamika Muni to drink water, but the Muni did not supply it. I therefore wrapped a dead snake over his shoulder, and that is why I was cursed by the Brahmana boy. Now, however, I am quite fit. I am not at all disturbed by my hunger and thirst. This indicates that although on the material platform there are disturbances from hunger and thirst, on the spiritual platform there is no such thing as fatigue. The entire world is suffering because of spiritual thirst. Every living being is Brahman or spirit soul and needs spiritual food to satisfy his hunger and thirst. Unfortunately, however, the world is completely unaware of the nectar of Krishna Katha. The Krishna consciousness movement is therefore a boon to philosophers, religionists, and people in general. There is certainly a charming attraction in Krishna and Krishna Katha. Therefore, the absolute truth is called Krishna, the most attractive. The word Amruta is also an important reference to the moon. And the word Ambuja means lotus. The pleasing moonshine and pleasing fragrance of the lotus combined to bring pleasure to everyone hearing Krishna Katha from the mouth of Sukadeva Goswami. As it is said, Matirna Krishne Paratah Svatova Mithoabhipadyeta Grihavratanam Adanta Gobhir Pishatam Tamishram Punah Punascharvita Charvananam. Because of their uncontrolled senses, people too addicted to materialistic life make progress toward hellish conditions and repeatedly chew that which has already been chewed. Their inclinations toward Krishna are never aroused, either by the instructions of others, by their own efforts, or by a combination of both. At the present moment, all of the human society is engaged in the business of chewing the chewed. Punas charvita charvananam. People are prepared to undergo mrityu samsara vatmani, taking birth in one form, dying, accepting another form, and dying again. To stop this repetition of birth and death, Krishna Katha or Krishna consciousness is absolutely necessary. But unless one hears Krishna Katha from a realized soul like Sukadeva Goswami, one cannot relish the nectar of Krishna Katha, which puts an end to all material fatigue, and enjoy the blissful life of transcendental existence. In relation to the Krishna consciousness movement, we actually see that those who tasted the nectar of Krishna Katha lose all material desires, whereas those who cannot understand Krishna or Krishna Katha regard the Krishna conscious life as brainwashing and mind control. While the devotees enjoy the spiritual bliss, the non-devotees are surprised that the devotees have forgotten material hankerings. As in the Bhaktivedanta purport. Om Ajnanatimirandhasya Gnananjanashalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Namo Om Vishnupadaya Krishna Presthaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swamin Iti Namine Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvisesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Deshatarine Jai Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shri Vasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Hare Krishna Jai Srila Prabhupada. So here, who is speaking this verse? Parikshit Maharaj. So what is he saying? This Kshut and Udam, this hunger, Kshut means hunger and Udam means water. So Kshut and Udam he has tyakta, he has given up. Tyakta, Kshun udam api, even in spite of that, na esha ati duhsaha na badhate. Ati duhsaha means very difficult to overcome this kshut, hunger and thirst, isn't it? When we get hungry or thirsty, ati duhsaha, they are very difficult to overcome. But na esha badhate, these things are not afflicting me. Why? Because I'm drinking alternate thing, which is pibantam twan mukham bhojachyutam harikathamrutam. Because I'm drinking harikathamrutam, the nectar of Krishna Katha, especially coming from tvat mukham bhojam, coming from the lotus mouth of you or Sukadeva Goswami. So there is another verse in Bhagavatam which explains how constantly by immersed in Krishna Katha, one becomes freed from all material hankerings. So this is from Bhagavatam 10th canto. It is said that iti nandadayo gopa Krishna Rama katham muda kurvanto ramamanascha na vindan bhava vedanam. So na avindan bhava vedanam. They did not feel any material distress, material tribulations. They could not even perceive the material tribulations. All the cowherd men, headed by Nanda Maharaj, enjoyed topics about the pastimes of Krishna and Balarama with great transcendental pleasure, and they could not even perceive material tribulations. So this is the panacea. This is the formula to end all material tribulations, to be immersed in Krishna Katha. Now, a very interesting question is asked by Parikshit Maharaj. What is that question? He basically said, the gopis, they did not know that Krishna is the Supreme Personality of Godhead. They accepted him as a beautiful boy and considered him to be their paramour. So how was it possible for them to get freed from the material condition just by thinking of a paramour? Or in other words, if we also think of our paramour or our child, our husband, our wife, our grandfather, being immersed in that thought, can we also become freed? Because qualitatively we are one with Krishna. We are Brahman. We are one with Krishna in that sense. Krishna is also Brahman. He is Parabrahman. So what is that is different? If the gopis can become freed, if anybody can become freed from thinking of Krishna, from their material tribulations, what is the difference? So actually, Sukadeva Goswami chastises Parikshit Maharaj. My dear Parikshit, I have already given you the answer to that question. Why are you asking me again? So, but he reminds him again. The difference is there. Firstly, Krishna is Parabrahman and we are Brahman. And when Krishna comes as Krishna, people mistake that Krishna possesses a body like how we possess a material body. Krishna's body and Krishna are non-different. So if you focus on Krishna, meditate on Krishna, either on the deity of Krishna or Krishna when he is personally present, his body is not different from him. There is no difference between Krishna, the soul, and his body like us. So like that, Sukadeva Goswami mentioned several reasons how Krishna is Parabrahman, we are ordinary Brahman. He is omnipotent, we are not. He's got a transcendental body, we don't. So this is why only when we focus, meditate on Krishna, we can become freed from these material tribulations. So now coming to the omnipotency of Krishna. So it is said that Krishna's, what is that verse in Brahma Samhita which proves that Krishna is omnipotent? with any limb of his, he can do any other activity. Angani yasya sakalendriya vrittimanti pasyanti panti kalayanti chiram jaganti ananda chinmaya sadujvala vigrahasya govindamadi purusham tamaham bhajami. Yasya angani, whose limbs are capable of sakala indriya vrittimanti. They can perform the task of all other indriyas. Now, see, we are spiritual spark of Krishna. We should have same attribute of Krishna in minute quantity. So do we also have that quality of angani yasya sakalendriya vrittimanti? No? Actually, we do. I'll show you how. And this verse also has that aspect. So let's see this. So what did Sukadev, I'll remind you what he said in this verse. This is another verse from Bhagavatam, second canto. The verse we read today, in the end, he said, Pibantam tvan mukham bhojat chutam. Because I am drinking the nectar of topics of Krishna, which is flowing from your lotus mouth. So he's drinking from his mouth. All right. Now let's see what Bhagavatam says. Pibanti ye bhagavata atmanah satam kathamrutam shravana puteshu samhrutam. This verse says, Pibanti, one who drink, not from their mouth. Shravana puteshu samhrutam. Look at that second line. What he says, those who drink not with their mouths, but with their ears. So we are omnipotent or not? Those who drink through oral reception, fully filled with the nectarian message of Lord Krishna, the beloved of the devotees, purify the polluted aim of life known as material enjoyment. So if you hear about Krishna, what will happen? We purify the polluted aim of life, which is material enjoyment. And thus go back to Godhead, to the lotus feet of Him, the personality of Godhead. Now, there's another verse. Pibanti word is there. Again, Pibanti, look at that third line. Pibanti ye karna putair alam prabho kuto shivam tvat charanambujasavam mahan manasto mukhanishrutam kvachit pibanti ye karna putair alam prabho deham bhrutam dehakrit asmriti chidam. So Krishna's relative said, for those who have even once freely drunk the nectar coming from your lotus feet, this intoxicating liquor pours into the drinking cups of their ears. So you drink again through your ears, flowed from the minds of great devotees through their mouths. It destroys the embodied soul's forgetfulness of the creator of their bodily existence. Now, can you drunk with your mouth, you drunk with your ears? Can you smell through your ears? That is also there in Bhagavatam. See how we are omnipotent in different ways. Ye tu tvadiya charanam bhujakosha gandham jighranti karna vivarai shrutivata nitam bhaktya grihita charana paraya cha tesham na paishinadha hridayam buruhat swapumsam. So where does it say that we can smell through our ears? Huh? This is the Kumaras. No, this is not Kumaras. There is another verse by Kumaras, beautiful verse, but that is not this. Jigranti karna vivaraihi. This is spoken by Lord Brahma, if I am not wrong. So Lord Brahma says, oh my Lord, persons who smell the aroma of your lotus feet, carried by the air of Vedic sound through the holes of the ears. So you can smell the Lord's lotus feet through your ears. That coming from the aroma of your lotus feet, accept your devotional service. For them, you are never separated from the lotus of their hearts. Now, can you drink with your eyes? So we have seen drinking with mouth, drinking with ears, smelling through ears. What about drinking with eyes? Huh? Can drink with the eyes. This is quoted by Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Gopyastapah kimacharan yadamushya rupam lavanyasarama samodhvamananya siddham drigbih pibanti anusavabhinavam durapam ekantadhama yashasha shriya aishwarasya. So how they are drinking here? Where is it said? Drinking with their eyes. Drigbih pibanti anusavabhinavam durapam. What austerities must the gopis have performed? With their eyes, they always drink the nectar of Lord Krishna's form, which is the essence of loveliness and is not to be equaled or surpassed. That form is the only abode of beauty, fame, and opulence. It is self-perfect, ever fresh, and extremely rare. So now, drinking with ice. Another verse. I'll ask who said this. Bhrajatvara manigrivam nivitam vanamalaya pibanta iva chakshurbyam lihanta iva jihvaya. So where is that said? Drinking with ice. Pibanta iva chakshurbyam. So the kings seem to drink his beauty with their eyes, lick him with their tongues, relish his fragrance with their nostrils, and embrace him with their arms. Their past sins now eradicated, the kings all bowed down to Lord Hari, placing their heads at his feet. Who are these kings? Jarasandha? Jalasandha, Shishupala. You're coming close, not quite. Take Rukmini. Captured by Jarasandha is not correct. There was another set of kings captured by somebody else. Maybe you are correct. Maybe I am mistaken. Maybe Jarasandha only, but I think Bhaumasura also captures these kings and captures the kings also. And maybe, yeah, we will look at it. But basically, Krishna delivers by killing this either Jarasandha or Bhaumasura, and the kings usually you'll see this kind of prayers by the queens or the gopis. It's very interesting to see how the kings are offering these prayers. So you see how we are also omnipotent by relishing Krishna through different kinds of these things. So as you can see how Parikshit Maharaj is praising the glory of ability to drink the Krishna Katha from the mouth of pure devotees. So in Chaitanya Charitamrita, there is a character, there is a devotee called Kalidas. He is the uncle of one of the 6 Goswami, who is, you're quite close. Yes. Raghunath Das Goswami. He's uncle of Raghunath Das Goswami. He has got one very wonderful quality. What is that? His wonderful quality is he always looks forward to tasting the remnants, just like Parikshit Maharaj is glorifying the nectar coming from the mouth of Sukadeva Goswami. Kalidas is always attached to tasting the remnants coming from the mouths of pure devotees. The prasadam. The prasadam tasted by the pure devotees. And he wouldn't look at somebody as a Kanishtha, Madhyama, Uttama, like that. Any Vaishnava engaged in chanting Hare Krishna, he will try to get their remnants. So he would actually go take some prasadam, some nice fruits or whatever prasadam, he would gift it to them, and he would ask for their mercy. He would ask for the remnants, and he would have it if they give. But if they don't give, extreme measures, he would wait outside their house. Once they taste, like if he gives mangoes, like if they taste and throw it out, and he will collect that thrown, the peels and those kind of things, the seeds, and then he will taste that. So one time he goes to this personality called Jadu Thakur, another devotee of the Lord, and he offers him mangoes, and he says, I need the Mahaprasadam. He said, no, I cannot give. I am such a fallen person. No, you are not fallen person. You may be born in a fallen family, but anybody who is engaged in the service of the Lord, he quotes some Vedic verses. Aho batasva pachoto gariyan jajjihvagre vartate namatubhyam. Anybody who takes the holy name of the Lord becomes glorious. And Jadu Thakur says, that may be for a real devotee, but I am not a real devotee. So he refuses. But still, as usual, he goes outside and waits. And when they throw up the peels, he would go and taste it. So because of this quality, he becomes very dear to Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Usually when the Lord, when he goes to the darshan of Jagannath temple every day, he would wash his lotus feet outside the Simhadwara. And then he would tell his servant, Govinda, because people are eager to take the water washing his lotus feet, don't let anybody come near. Because people were all fighting to get that water. But when Kalidas came, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu recognized that he appreciated his eagerness to serve the devotees, and he allowed to take the water. And he took the water once, and again took twice. He took third time, and then Chaitanya Mahaprabhu said, I have given you enough leeway. Now don't push your luck too much. You stop at that. And then Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami says, this Kalidas, he became a pure soul. He got that mercy of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. And then he glorifies these three things, said in Chaitanya Charitamrita. Bhakta pada dhuli ara bhakta pada jala bhakta bhukta avasesha teen mahabala. So he glorifies these three things. What is that? Bhakta pada dhuli ara bhakta pada jala bhakta bhukta avasesha teen mahabala. These three are very, very strong, very powerful substances. What are these? Bhakta pada dhuli, the dust of the feet of a devotee. Bhakta pada jala, the water that has washed the feet of a devotee. And bhakta bhukta avasesha, the remnants of food left by a devotee. All three are very powerful substances. So that is why we say this prasadam, when we offer to the devotee, actually when the prasadam is offered to the Lord, again Chaitanya Charitamrita says, it is Mahaprasadam. When the devotee takes that prasadam and leaves the remnants, it becomes Mahaprasadam. And when one takes that, one becomes surcharged with Krishna Bhakti, Krishna Prema. And that's what we see from the examples of Parikshit Maharaj. We see the examples of Kalidas. In Srimad Bhagavatam, I've shared this one time earlier. There is this beautiful shloka about Prahlad Maharaj. How he was completely immersed in Krishna Prema. It is said, Asinaha paryatan ashnan shayanaha prapiban bruvan nanu sandhatta etani govinda parirambhitaha. So Prahlad Maharaj, he was always absorbed in thought of Krishna. Thus being always embraced by the Lord, he did not know how his bodily necessities, such as sitting, walking, eating, lying down, drinking, and talking were being automatically performed. How they were automatically performed? He was always absorbed in thought of Krishna. Just like Parikshit Maharaj, he was always absorbed. He didn't even realize. But here Prabhupada offers a wonderful explanation in the purport. How these are all automatically performed. Anybody remembers how Prahlad Maharaj was able to do this automatically? See the beautiful purport of Prabhupada. I think it's not, I didn't provide here, but I'll read it out. The analogy he gives: a small child, while being cared for by his mother, does not know how the needs of the body for eating, sleeping, lying down, passing water, and evacuating are being fulfilled. See how wonderfully we can relate this. A small child in the lap of the mother, he doesn't even know how his needs are met: eating or sleeping, passing water, evacuating. Automatically, the mother is doing all of this. He is happy, relishing the association of the mother. So Prabhupada continues to say, he is simply satisfied to be on the lap of his mother. Similarly, Prahlad Maharaj was exactly like a small child being cared for by Govinda. The necessary activities of his body were performed without his knowledge. As a father and mother care for their child, Govinda cared for Prahlad Maharaj, who remained always absorbed in thoughts of Govinda. This is Krishna consciousness. Prahlad Maharaj is the vivid example of perfection in Krishna consciousness. Now, a very similar verse is there in Bhagavad Gita, in the 5th chapter. You may not have noticed, but I'll bring it up, then you will notice. I don't know if I captured this, but yeah, I don't have it, but I'll read it out from the Bhagavad Gita. Can you bring the book, Bhagavad Gita? It comes in verses 8 and 9. It doesn't matter, I have it. So you can later refer to it. 5th chapter of Bhagavad Gita, verses 8 and 9. Naiva kinchit karomiti yukto manyeta tattvavit pashyan shrunvan sprushan jigran ashnan gachan swapan swashan pralapan vishrujan grihnan unmishan nimishan api indriyani indriyardheshu vartanta iti dharayan. So what does it mean by that? Yeah, maybe you can bring the translation. Let's go to the 5th chapter. You won't get the verses like that. Yeah, go to the next. You have to go up and then go right. You could have just gone to 5th chapter and scrolled down. Yeah. No, you can just enlarge it. So a person in the divine consciousness, although engaged in seeing, hearing, touching, smelling, eating, moving about, sleeping, and breathing, always knows within himself that he actually does nothing at all. Isn't it very similar to what Prahlad Maharaj is doing? Because while speaking, evacuating, receiving, opening, or closing his eyes, he always knows that only the material senses are engaged with their objects and that he is aloof from them. Now, Prabhupada offers a different explanation in this verse compared to what he does in the Prahlad Maharaj case, because the flow of the chapter is different. But you can understand it's a very similar verse. What Prabhupada explains is that what it means by, so we are actually engaged in seeing here. Right now, you're hearing, I'm speaking, somebody may be talking, somebody may be cooking. It's as if nothing, we are actually doing nothing. What does it mean by that? We are actually doing nothing. We are doing something, right? What does it mean by we are doing nothing? It means typically when we do any action, there is a reaction. Say if you engaged in business, or if you are speaking, or if you are transacting, there is a reaction. For every action, there is a reaction. But if you engage in activities for Krishna, is there reaction? There is no reaction. It's as good as you are not doing any of these things. That's what Prabhupada says. So if you go down to the purport, if you actually read the purport carefully, you can read it later. Prabhupada mentions all these things. Therefore, the Krishna conscious person is always free, even though he appears to be engaged in things of the senses. He is free because he does not get any reaction when he is engaged for Krishna. And then Krishna goes on to say, does it mean that I don't care about my body? Because I've got nothing to do with this body. Pralapan, Vishrujan, Grunan, Unmishan, Nimishan, Napi. Indriya and Indriya, Dheshu, Vartanta, let them be engaged. Krishna clarifies in the next verse, no, the body is important. Brahmani adhaya karmani, you can go to the next one. Brahmani adhaya karmani sangam tyaktva karoti yaha lipyate nasa papena padmapatram ivambhasa. So the translation says, one who performs his duty without attachment, surrendering the results unto the Supreme Lord, is not affected by sinful action as a lotus leaf is untouched by water. Now, where is the body? There is no, here, seems to be no connection between the previous verse and this. So because the previous verse talked about acting with our body and it's as if we are not acting. And then here, it seems to say the lotus leaf and water example. But actually, if you read the purport, Prabhupada clarifies in the end, towards the end, I'll read it out. You don't have to go there. The conclusion is that a person without Krishna consciousness acts according to the concept of the material body and senses. But a person in Krishna consciousness acts according to the knowledge that the body is the property of Krishna and should therefore be engaged in the service of Krishna. So the person understands that the body is also the property of Krishna and therefore must be engaged in the service of Krishna. So it is that, yes, the body is there, the bodily activities are there, but the devotee also understands that the body belongs to Krishna and engages the body in the service of Krishna. That is called Brahmani Adhaya Karmani. So that is the relation between the previous verse and this. Now, if you actually see some of the lectures Prabhupada gives when we speak about the 8th and 9th verse. Naiva kinchit karomi iti yukto manyeta tattvavit. The tattvavit knows that I am not acting. The senses are acting. So Prabhupada offers even a different explanation in his lecture. So in this verse, in the purport, he said, it's as if you are not acting because there is no reaction. But in the lecture, Prabhupada says, Naiva kinchit karomi iti means, Na eva kinchit karomi iti. I cannot do anything unless Krishna sanctions it. Naiva kinchit karomi iti. With my body or with my senses, any activity I do cannot be successful unless Krishna wills, Krishna sanctions. That is another meaning. So you see how each verse carries different meanings. The whole Krishna consciousness tattva, unless an acharya explains, or the multi-dimensional ways of understanding Krishna tattva, it's unlimited. So every time you read Bhagavad Gita or Bhagavatam, unlimited meanings come out. So I'll stop there. Anybody has any questions or comments? ग्रंथराज श्रीमद् भागवतम की जय, जगत गुरु श्रीला प्रभुपाद की जय, निताई